Maybe it's because I'm lazy, maybe it's because of my chronic fatigue, and maybe I just can't be bothered sometimes, and maybe it's because I'm a single parent. But no matter the reason, I have ended up having lots of habits and hacks that I do that just make my life so much easier on a daily basis. So I wanted to share with you some easy habits that you can do every day that will make life easy for you. Hi, my name's Rachel. I do videos about decluttering, minimalism and my no spend year. And today we're talking about habits that make life that little bit easier because there's so much going on. It's so busy. It can be really stressful. It can be really difficult to manage, particularly if you're on your own. And I think the struggle is real right now. So for various different reasons, either because of being a single parent or having chronic fatigue, I've kind of been forced to do things a little bit differently. And these are the things that I do every day that just make life that little bit easier. Or I only do them once a week to make life easier, but it works. It works for me and it may work for you too. So the first thing I do is I make sure I have a really automated and really simple morning and bedtime routine. I always do things in the same order because I find it hard to remember everything to do, and it's just one of those ways that kind of embeds that thing so that I don't have to really think about it. I always do my teeth and then I get dressed. That's my order, and then I do my makeup and then it's breakfast. So it goes in that order when I get up, and then bedtime routine, it's always the same. I always make sure that it's just cleared away in the living room area. I just make sure that the dishwasher is loaded, ready for in the morning. I just clear the sides, and then I will get myself a drink, and then I will come up, teeth and bed. So it's a very simple routine, but it's very automated, so I don't really have to think about it. I always do the same things. It just means that I've already kind of done things to set myself up for the morning or set myself up for the next day, depending on when it is. And then what makes it easy then is that I can then add things into that routine, one thing at a time, just so that I know I'm doing the things that I want to do. So I now want to add in stretches to my morning routine because I know that I can fit that in. I've automated my current routine and it's embedded. So I know that after I've done certain things, I know when is a good time to add in my stretches and just do some stretches, some little bits before then getting dressed. So I know that I can add things to my routine as I want to, and it doesn't have to be too complicated. My second habit is that everything has a home. There are specific places for things in my house. I have one drawer for paperwork, I have one drawer for cables, I have books either on bedside table or on the bookshelf, so there's only two places they could be. Everything has a particular place in the wardrobe so that I know exactly where to find anything in my home. Really simple, just has to be in the area that I use it. So I always have all the cables downstairs because I'm most likely to use it downstairs, and I also have my paperwork downstairs because it's closer to the door, easier to put things in, and then the joy of that means it's easy to find things and it's easy to put things away. So when I tidy up at the end of the night, it's really easy because everything belongs somewhere within the room that I'm in. So I know that it's not complicated to put things back or have to go from room to room to room. It's really straightforward. So finding a good home for things is really key. So you want to make sure that it makes sense for how you use the item. It just makes it so much quicker. It's less thinking involved and it's automated. Everybody in the home can find everything. I make sure that there is one space dedicated for a category. This really helps with that. Everything has a home place. There's one drawer for cables, there's one drawer for tops or one drawer for trousers. It just means that things are easier to find and they're only in one space. So you're not kind of having pockets of the same category dotted around your house trying to search for them. My next habit that makes my life very much easier so that I don't double book and I don't miss appointments is that I have the calendar app on my phone. Without my app and the calendar here, I would not know what's going on where. I would miss appointments, I'd double book myself. I mean, sometimes I do still double book myself if I have forgotten to put it in the calendar, but the idea is that as soon as I arrange something, it goes in the calendar straight away, and then I have no chance of forgetting or missing anything. It has to go in there, otherwise it doesn't happen. I found that doing a paper diary for me was too hit and miss. Sometimes I'd use it, sometimes I wouldn't, and then it was also an extra thing to carry, and I didn't want that. I wanted something really simple, so a consistent calendar is key. If you are within a family unit, because obviously it's just me and my son at the minute, if you've got a partner, then for you might want to have a shared calendar, and you could maybe colour code each person's activities so that you know exactly what's happening where, and it just makes it easier to see the big picture. So what I do at the beginning of each week, or the end of the week for the next week, is just check what's going on and check when my availability is, when I'm free, when I can do stuff, and when I'm busy and what's booked. So it just keeps me on top of everything. My next habit that I do pretty much weekly is I meal prep and meal plan and batch cook. So I will either batch cook throughout the week so that I've got meals for a future week or future day, so that I don't have to prep so much all of the time. It does make life easier because there are certain days where I just really can't be bothered to cook, and if I know that I've got something in the freezer, I can grab it out and defrost it. Like, I'm golden. It's a quick meal. It only takes a case of reheating it and just maybe adding some bits with it, and yeah, it's done. So I find batch cooking fantastic, and I also then meal prep for the week. So sometimes that's in the form of batch cooking, but it depends on what I'm having. So quite often I'll do like jacket potatoes for lunch, so I'll make a whole bunch of them at the beginning of the week, and then they're in the fridge ready for the week. I obviously only do like about 3 days at a time, because I feel like 3 days in the fridge is probably long enough, and I want to be safe in a meeting, but it just means it takes the pressure off of lunches. I know I've got a cooked lunch, it's a good lunch. Quite often I do soup or enchiladas, so I always have a decent lunch prepared. I always make more than one portion when I do it, and I also meal plan. I plan on a Saturday night, Sunday, when I go food shopping, I plan exactly the meals that I'm going to have that week. There's always wiggle room, there's always like additional stuff in the cupboards maybe that I could always pull from, but I know roughly that I'm going to have these 7 meals within the week. Me and my son have talked them through together, and we know that we like them, and we always make sure that we plan in some easy meals for those days when I've got meetings after school, and we also have some of our favourite meals as well. So we've got a mixture of meals in there that kind of keep us both happy. But meal planning means that I'm really accurate in my shopping list, and I'm much better at sticking to budget. Next up is a declutter hack for you. This one I'm starting to take on board now that I've got into a good level of clutter reduction. I've decluttered most of my home, it's pretty much how I want it, but to keep on top of things and not let things build up, I'm going to do a 1 in, 2 out policy. So if I ever bring anything new into my home, that means I have to find 2 items to remove, so that I'm keeping on top of the clutter and I'm not letting it build. The idea is that you would maybe take out something that's like-minded, so if I bring in a new top, then I've got to get rid of 2 old. Depending on how you're doing your declutter, it just means that you are taking control, you are maintaining that clutter-free home. One thing I've done for a really long time now is automate all of my bills to come out just after payday. So I get paid on the 25th, and my bills all come out by the 2nd. So there's a little window of manoeuvrability if anything was to be late for payment, but I have all my bills come out by the 2nd, so I know I do not have to think about having to pay my bills. It's already gone and I know that it's paid, and I know I've got the money, and then anything left over is pretty much food, petrol and spend. So it just means I have that better control. I don't have to think about those bills. It's automated, it's done. So I set all my direct debits up to be before the 2nd. So I highly recommend doing that. Work out when your pay is, and then work out when you should have all your direct debits out by. It just means it's less to think about, and you know it's all done. I know this is going to be slightly difficult if you are paid weekly. This works really well for a monthly payment. If you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and press subscribe and press the bell for notifications if you want to know when I upload my next video. Next up is a capsule wardrobe, which I know I am working on. It's not completed. I still have probably too much to class as a capsule wardrobe. But for me, having that reduced down selection of clothes makes it so much easier to get ready in the morning. I don't have to think about what goes with what because I've already kind of worked that out as I've been building my capsule wardrobe. So it takes away all that decision making, which I find quite stressful and difficult to do in the morning because I'm never quite awake. Because of chronic fatigue, it just means that any decision making is then thinking time, and that's then going to increase the fatigue. So for me, anything that makes it automated and easy to do makes my life that little bit easier. So a capsule wardrobe has been fantastic for that. And you may think that you can't do that, but actually you probably do it more than you think. You probably reach for the same small selection of clothes on a regular basis, and actually that is it. That is your capsule wardrobe. And it's just about learning to shop your current wardrobe and maybe make a new selection every couple of weeks so that you've got a new variety of items to choose from. Another thing that makes my life easy is to have the same makeup routine every day. So I wear the same stuff and I have one product of each. And so the idea is that if I'm running low on a product, I'm just replacing that one item. I'm not trying to remember different products that I like. It's really simple. I have the same foundation, either powder or liquid. I have one eye palette. I have one mascara. I have one eyebrow kind of tool. Like, I don't have a complicated routine. It makes it so easy to keep track of what you need to buy, and then you don't have to have loads of stock to store as well. So it's really easy, and then I just know that I'm shopping for the same products and I just buy them whenever they're on offer, when they're needing to be replaced. Another thing that makes life easy is having the same bedtime and wake time. It makes you have a really good body clock, and if you have trouble with sleep or fatigue, this is quite key for your kind of everyday energy level maintenance. So I try and do the same kind of window of time. So I always go to bed between 10:30 and maybe 11. That is the plan. I must be going up to bed within that time. That's when I do my little bedtime routine, and I always wake up at the same time, which is usually around 6:30. And on a weekend I might push that back to maybe 7, but I try and keep it quite similar. I'm probably usually awake still at 6:30, so that it is consistent, and it makes it easier for me to fall asleep each night. My only trouble is that sometimes I fall asleep on the sofa in the afternoon, which does then affect my ability to go to sleep, but it is a battle depending on energy levels with school and work at the minute. But having that regular bedtime as much as I can really help with that. Another thing that I've really done a lot of recently is use containers, either baskets, trays, boxes. I have things contained within something to make it easier to stop mess from piling up. So for example, in my bathroom I have got a basket that is for collecting recycling, so that whenever it's full I just hold the basket and take it down to the recycling box outside. And I've got a basket that I also use for my hairstyling tools, because it's easy then to throw things in and get things out. Like, it's easy access. I've also done that for my son's room to help him keep things tidy, because he finds it really challenging to put clothing away. It's a battle. We banter about it. He's fine. But to make it easier, I've just got it so that there's pull-out baskets and he just throws the socks in, throws his tops in, etc. So it's not having to like hang things or have things in a certain order in a stack, because he can't do that. So for him, that makes it a lot easier, and it saves some of that excess of wasting time organising things. I mean, I do like fold up my socks, but that's because it just means I can get more in my dividers that I have, so that works for me. But for my son, we just roll them up and throw them into the basket, and that's easy. There's no organising involved, there's no complicated system to put things away. I have really simple systems in my home to make life easy, because I just don't have time or the energy to deal with it. And you know, there's better things to do in my time. My makeup here has got little trays and trays to compartmentalise the different items within my makeup drawer, so that all the eye things together, the lip products together, the foundation is together. It just means that things aren't rolling around the drawer. Everything is, you know, nice and neat, and I can access it really easily and put things back really easily. And that is key. Easy access, that's what you want. And the last thing that I do that makes my life so much easier is I say no. I say no to things that I don't want to do. I'm not willing to please other people anymore. I'm not willing to kind of put myself in a position where I'm doing things that I'm uncomfortable with. I'm in charge of my schedule and I completely own that. Hence why I've got the calendar app, because then I can judge if I've got too much in a week, and then I can say no to things. If I said yes to everything, I feel like that would be too much and it just wouldn't be as enjoyable. I want to have that sense of having purpose and intention with my time, and that helps me to do that. That also applies to like work life. I say no to things that I don't feel like I should have to do or that I'm not being supported with. I will vocalise when that is the case. I don't feel like I should have to do things that are not within my realm of activities. So that just helps me to find purpose. So these are my everyday habits that I do, or weekly habits that I do, that just make life that little bit easier for me. Because life is complicated as it is, and anything that makes life easier is fine by me. So you can call me lazy, but I just think it's an efficient way to be. I should be back for more videos soon. Take care. Bye.